Hey everybody, today we're going to be doing dividing fractions or dividing rational numbers. We are going to do this with the Smurfs. Oops, I mean SMUR. Alright, so just like when we were doing multiplying fractions, we kind of talked about the steps in which to multiply fractions. We're going to do the same thing with dividing. So first off, anytime you're given a fractions problem, you need to make sure that all of your numbers are in fraction form. So if you have any mixed numbers, make sure you change those to improper fractions. And also, if you have any numbers like whole numbers, like say 7, make sure that you write that as a fraction, so 7 over 1. Once all of your numbers are in fraction form, you're going to use SMUR. SMUR stands for same, multiply, and reciprocal. You may have heard this before as KCF, keep, change, flip. It's the same thing. So if you're more comfortable using keep, change, flip, that's fine. However, you do have to know the term reciprocal. A reciprocal is just an inverse of a fraction. So like, for example, if I say, what's the reciprocal of 9/10, you would say that that is 10/9. So it's just changing the numerator and the denominator around. Once you're done SMURing, then you're going to do what we did for multiplying fractions. We're going to look to reduce up and down or diagonal, and then we're going to multiply and simplify. All right, so let's go ahead and try some problems together. Go ahead and write down problem number 1, and we'll go ahead and walk through the steps together. So the first step is always to make sure you don't have any mixed numbers, and in this one we do not, so we're going to go straight to our SMUR step. Okay, so the first fraction gets the S in SMUR, the division sign gets the M, and then the R goes with the second fraction. So remember what the letters stand for. S means it stays the same, so 1/3 stays 1/3. And then we change our division to multiplication. And then the reciprocal of 5/9 is 9/5. Now look, this is just a multiplication of fractions problem. So what we're going to do is we're going to look up and down on both of our fractions to see if we can reduce anything. In this problem, 1/3 cannot be reduced, neither can 9/5. So then we go ahead and we look diagonal. We have a 1 and a 5. That cannot be reduced. However, 3 and 9 can be reduced. We can divide both the 3 and the 9 by 3. 3 divided by 3 is 1. 9 divided by 3 is 3. Once we have everything reduced, we're going to go ahead and just multiply our numerators. 1 times 3 is 3, and then multiply our denominators. 1 times 5 is 5. So our answer is 3/5. All right, go ahead and pause the video, write down number 2, and then we'll go ahead and go over that one. All right, first step is to go ahead and make sure everything's written in fraction form. That means the 6 we need to put over 1. And there aren't any mixed numbers to change, so we're going to go ahead and SMUR. So remember, S means stays the same, so 5/8 is going to stay 5/8. Change the division to a multiplication, and then the reciprocal of 6 over 1 is 1/6. All right, so now we're going to go ahead and look to reduce up and down. Nothing we can reduce here. Look diagonal. 1 and 8, nope. 5 and 6, nope. So that means we're just going to multiply across. 5 times 1 and 8 times 6. So our answer is 5/48. All right, go ahead and write down number 3. Again, no mixed numbers on this one, so we're going to jump right into using SMUR. Our first fraction is going to stay the same, which is 1/3. And then we're going to change the division to a multiplication. Then the reciprocal of 7/15 is 15/7. Why don't you pause the video and go ahead and finish this problem and then play the video to check your answer. All right, so let's see how you did. Here I have a 3 and a 15. I can divide those both by 3. 3 divided by 3 is 1, and 15 divided by 3 is 5. There's nothing else that I can reduce here, so I'm just going to multiply straight across. 1 times 5 and 1 times 7. So I get 5/7. Okay, so now for number 4, we have Brainy Smurf here is saying, hold on, first change the mixed numbers to improper fractions. So if you'd like to, why don't you pause the video and try this one on your own? We need to first change our mixed numbers to improper fractions and then go ahead and smur. Play the video to check your answer. All right, so jumping ahead here just a little bit, I've gone ahead and changed my mixed numbers to improper fractions, and then that would be this step. And then after that, I went ahead and used smur, and so here is my current problem. I'm looking to see if I can reduce anything now. I do see that I have a 2 and a 10 here, so I can divide those both by 2. I also see I have a 15 and a 21. I can divide those by 3. Remember that if you don't notice all of these things to reduce, it's perfectly okay. You'll just have to reduce at the end after you do your multiplication. So now if I go off of what I have here, I have negative 5 times 5, so negative 25/7. And then changing that to a mixed number, I'm going to get negative 3 and 4/7. So that's my final answer. Okay, now it is your turn. Please pause the video, try numbers 5, 6, and 7, and then play the video to check your answers. Okay, so let's go ahead and check some of the reducing on these problems. On number 5, I can go ahead and reduce the 4 and the 8. Excuse me. So if I divide 8 by 4, I get 2. 4 by 4, I get 1. So now I'm going to go ahead and multiply. If I notice in my original problem up here, it was a positive divided by a negative, so that's going to give me a negative answer. On number 6, I'm looking for something to reduce, but I do not see anything, so I'm going to just go ahead and multiply my numerators and my denominators. That gives me 3/44. And then on my last problem here, I'm going to go ahead and divide both of the 5s by 5. And then I can divide 12 and 34 by 2. So 34 divided by 2 is 17. 12 divided by 2 is 6. Looking at my original problem here, I had a negative divided by a negative, so I know my answer is going to be positive. And then when I multiply, I get 17/6. Then I need to change that to a mixed number, so 6 goes into 17 twice with a remainder of 5. So my answer is 2 and 5/6. Okay, so the last couple problems that we're going to try today are the problems where we have division with variables. We're going to go ahead and start these problems just like we would start any other division fractions problem. So first of all, we make sure that we don't have any mixed numbers, and in the first problem we do not. Once we check that, we go ahead and smur, so let's do that. So once we smur here, this 3xy over 4 is going to stay the same. Then we're going to multiply by the reciprocal of 2x over 8, which would be 8 over 2x. All right, so now we have a multiplication problem, so we're going to look to reduce up and down. If I'm looking just at my numbers, 3/4, that cannot be reduced. However, over on this side, I do have something that can be reduced. This 8 and 2, I can divide both of those by 2. That's going to give me 4 and 1. Now I'm going to go ahead and look diagonally. So here, my numbers, I have a 3 and a 1. We can't do anything with that. Going this direction, though, I have a couple 4s, so I can reduce those. I can divide both of the 4s by 4. And now once I'm done looking at my numbers, now I'm going to look at my variables. If you need more of an explanation for this part, we went over this in the multiplying fractions lesson, so you can watch the end of that lesson where it talks more about reducing. Okay, so now if we look in this direction, I see that I have an x here and an x up here, so I'm going to go ahead and reduce those. Remember, those just kind of cancel each other out. Now I have a whole bunch of stuff written here. It's kind of hard to tell what I have left. If I look just on the top, I see I have a 3, a y, and a 1. So 3 times y times 1. Well, 3 times 1 is 3, and then I have the y. So I have 3y in the numerator. And then in the denominator, what do I have left? I have a 1 and a 1, which is just equal to 1. So reducing this, we would get 3y. All right, go ahead and pause the video and try the next one. If you get stuck, just play the video and check to see how I went through it. All right, so on this problem here, again, we have no mixed numbers, so we're going to go ahead and smur. So 5ab over 6 is going to stay the same. And then I'm going to multiply by 7 over 10b. First thing we're going to do is check our numbers and see if we can reduce it all. 5 6 and 7 tenths cannot be reduced. Now I look diagonal. 6 and 7, nope, can't reduce that. 5 and 10, yes I can. I can divide both of those by 5. And once I'm done with my numbers, now I'm going to look for my variables. So I'm looking for variables they have in common right here. I have a b in the diagonal positions there. So this b right here and this one, those are going to cancel. And so now I'm going to see what I have left. So on the top I have a 1, a, and a 7. So I'm going to multiply the numbers. 1 times 7 is 7. So I have 7a on top. And then in the denominator, I have 6 times 2, which is 12. So my answer is 7a over 12. All right, great job with this lesson, everybody.